Hey guys, Jamie here from the Olde Creamery. Welcome back to our channel. I just thought I'd do a bit of an update on our very busy weekend, on what we've been up to since last time we talked. So I'm trying to get a new video out on the advanced cuttings I do, but I kind of thought I'd hold off a bit until I get this propagation bed up and running, and I can show you, I guess, how that's going. And we've gone through that first trial phase, and we'll do that together. On Saturday, we had the Bala Creek Festival here in Numurkah. So it was the inaugural festival. It was organised by the Numurkah Love Your Lifestyle guys, and it was pretty amazing. Like, I wasn't sure what to expect. We had a bar, we had 2 stages. There was lots of different local food vans. It was all about what's local products and things like that. And it was a really good event, and then they had the fireworks at the end of the day. So we went along as the Olde Creamery and took our homemade products to the little market and did really well. And I also took my Dahlia bunches. So it was the first time I've ever taken Dahlia bunches, I guess, off the property and offered them to people just to see what the feeling was. So I guess it was a bit nervous and nerve-wracking because they weren't the best flowers at the end of the season. So, as you know, we're starting to get droopy heads and not the best stems in the world. So I put them at a reasonable price, $10 a bunch. And I think I took probably about 12 bunches. And yep, sold out every single one. And the amount of feedback and people just stopping to look at them was amazing. So the cross-selling that's promoted for our own products, which already do well and have a bit of a following, is really good. And already I've got people wanting orders for plants, etc., for the new year. So that is really good. Well, I said the new year, you mean the next season. So then after that, we did some more work on our propagation beds. So I'm going to see if I can turn this camera around while we're talking. I don't know if I can. Probably not. So as you can see, there's still a lot of cleaning up to be done, but the nuts and bolts are now in since last time we spoke. So what I've got here is going to be my little space area. So of course my little Google Home will go up here because you've got to have music while you're working. He's hung me a nice little recycled light we found. But basically I can do all of my propagation on here and anything else I need on the desktop. I can have my little laptop computer in here so I can update the spreadsheets. He's built me this nice little cute little box in here where I'm going to put my compost and seed starter mix, so there's no spillage when I'm trying to do my trays. And he's even built me this nice little cubby hole. How cute is that? So I can hide all my stuff in there, which I don't want people to see if they're coming through. You know, like all my crap and notes and scribbles and things. We've got our little automatic misting system now in. So that took some work, and a lot of swearing happened over the weekend because it just didn't work how we wanted it. And the original one we bought, the microfilters just got blocked, even though we're using rainwater, and we've got inline filters, and we've tried to eliminate any issues we could. We were still having issues with that, so that's going back, unfortunately. And then we've trial hung our lights. So these are really good. They're actually on these little ratchets. So you press the button and then you can pull them down, up and down like blinds to get to the right ideal height you want. So we're aiming for about 24 inches off the canopy. So if the canopy of your plants is around here, they'll be set to about 24 inches above that. And then I can drop them down as I need to increase the intensity of the lights. And then we've got all of our wiring going up here to this very mess up here until the electrician comes and wires it all in nicely, and that'll do the propagation heat beds. A few people were asking how we kind of made this, so I have got some videos which I'll put up as we go and some photos of as you go. But I'll also put a link up to the original propagation bed idea, because why should I explain it when somebody else did it already? But basically we've gone with 10 by 10 legs, and then he's got, I think it's called 2 by 4 fence palings, and he's put in all of these brackets. So those brackets were weighted to 300 kilos each, because we thought when you put the sand in there, and the sand's going to get quite damp even from the misting, plus you want the sand damp to help distribute the heat, that it's going to have a bit of weight on there. So we're hopeful that we might have gone a bit overboard, but anyway, and we've repurposed where we can as well, you know. And then on top of that, it's like this marine board, and I don't know if I've got any offcuts. Oh, this stuff. So what is made for this bench here? So it's kind of like a sealed, vinyled, not sure, plywood, so that it's a bit more resistant to moisture and things getting in. Now where you've cut it on the edges, you do need to seal them, because obviously that will make it come apart. So I need to go through and varnish all of this next. So it's got a layer of that on the bottom. Then we've got a layer of insulation foam. So we found some at the hardware store, and it has, so it's like polystyrene, but it's covered with aluminium on both sides. So that'll stop any heat from coming out of the bottom of our beds and drive it upwards. Then we've put in plastic. So we've lined this with a fairly, it's called builder's plastic. So it's fairly thick, which should help any punctures and things going down. If anything gets down, it's not going to go down and impact too much on the wood below. So it's all sealed with this plastic. Then on top of that, we've got the river sand. So this is quite a sharp sand and coarse. You can see it's got lots of pebbles and stuff in there. So the idea of that will be that I can also use this for propagating and mixing with my perlite to take my cuttings. So we've got 2 inches of the sand. Then we've put the heat wire in. So we ordered the heat wire from a company in Australia called Heat Tech, and they do it per meter length to what you want, and then you kind of lay it out in a snake format. And I think I've got some pictures of that. And we had to put bricks and things down as we were going and try and hold it in place, because it does like to move. So that was a bit tricky. Then I've put 1 inch of sand on top of that again, and then I've got some old, it was an old puppy crate. So you might have seen them, you get them from like the reject shops and things, when you have little dogs and puppies and they just put together with a little single pin. So yeah, so we bought the puppy mesh, we laid that all the way through. I guess you could use like the old Avery mesh. Basically we're just putting something under there so that if I happen to dig down with anything, if anything goes down, you've got that protection level before you hit the wire. Given that the wire is quite expensive, we want to obviously not hurt that in any way. On top of that wire, we've then put another 1 inch to 1.5 inches of the propagation sand, which gives us our top layer. And then through the middle, we've actually wired the poly pipe, which uses for our misting system, is wired to that puppy fencing, which helps keep it at the right level and the sprayers pointing directly upwards. So work that still needs to be done around here is some kind of shading to go along the front. So the next project or job for this bench will be like we've done here. We've got the plastic cover to keep some of the wind out. So I'm going to go along and also do the same all the way along, which will then mean that the only real way I've got of controlling the humidity in here is, and the airflow, is these windows are closed, but they still have a bit of a gap. So that should help regurgitate, refresh the air. And then I can open them, obviously depending on how we go with temperatures in different seasons. So it's going to be a bit of trial and error. And then I'm going to get some bistro blinds or some kind of form of plastic, which will come across all the way along here, which will stop any excess moisture from the misting arms spraying out everywhere and wasting water, but also help keep that humidity in this section as well. So that is the next little project to be going on with. Then on yesterday, we got the machinery in. Luckily I work on a dairy farm, so we brought the machinery home. There's all the bees. So the bees are really, we keep the bees happy with our dahlias obviously and all our flowers. So the bees don't belong to us, the bees belong to the farm next door, but they're really well placed for keeping our garden very well populated. And we'll just come round, a bit of colour. So even though I was just saying pretty much the whole dahlia season in the main garden is completely nearly finished now. I've got a few flowers here and there where I'm still going to collect seed head off, but these are all my last cuttings. So these are the last cuttings I put in the ground probably in March, I think. That's why they're so small and probably stunted. Plus they're growing in those little pots still like I do, but I'm starting to get colour. And what I'm really happy with so far is that so far all of my tags have been correct to what they're supposed to be, so even better. And they still come, and that'll be a Christy Merlot coming in. And we've got some fire and ice on the end. So they're still trying to pump out the colours, but yeah, I'm starting to cut. The main garden is not all been cut back, and the flowers I've left are mainly just for seed collection now. So I said, so we got the tractors in on the weekend, and between the big tractor and our little 1960s Ford, you know, it keeps going. It amazes me how it keeps going, because the amount of wires which are hanging out of this vehicle is unbelievable, as you can see. Like, the cows have been over it more than once, and it's very old and rustic and charming, but it still starts and does the job. And then we have the one I borrowed from work, which is a bit more robust and easier to control. But you will have seen we had the big fire pit over here last time we were on the video, and we've now achieved that in a couple of hours, so we're almost level. And my next job maybe for today or this afternoon is to try and level out this corner, which is going to have a polytunnel / greenhouse. I think we're going to have probably a budget style greenhouse just for the first year, until we obviously see how we all go, and then we'll upgrade as business grows and we have the finances to do so. Then we can start getting our garden beds marked out and laid out for in here before I order the soil in. And we're thinking somewhere around here will be the shade house. So the idea is that we'll have the cut flower farm where the sheep are. All through here will be my collection of dahlias. They'll still be used for cut flowers, but it'll be pretty much so when people come, you can actually walk through the rows, see the varieties I have for my personal collection as well. Because there'll be stuff in there like the cactuses and the giants, which on the whole, for cut flowers, the florists don't require them unless they're doing something special. So our main, I guess, our pom-poms and our small to medium decoratives are what we'll put down in our proper cut flower farm down there. But that's the idea up here. And then the shade house here will have 5 to 6 plants of each variety I'm going to show for this year. So the reason they'll be on the shade cloth, obviously, is that we're in Australia. We get 40-degree days. We have a lot of sun up here. That tends to bleach my flowers, and particularly for show, we want the best of the best. So we will put them in there, which will be, and then grow them out as I require for show too. So obviously when we're doing that, they get pinched out a lot more. I'm setting times on when I'm trying to achieve the blooms to come through. What are you doing, pig? You've locked yourself in, mate. Yeah. Oh, hello. There you go, you got freedom now. I'm going to have a wallow in your mud pile. Good girl. And while I was doing all that, the mistake I made is that I had taken the light and one of the lids off our seedlings, or our cuttings, and I've managed to probably kill most of my tray. So, oh well, we learn. So, but on the whole, I've still got quite a few. So while it's a bit disappointing, I've lost, let's say, 25% maybe. I'll say they're almost due to be checking on anyway. They're probably about 4 or 5 days from being ready to plant, but you know, crap happens, doesn't it? We can't do everything. So, and as I keep saying, at the moment, every plant that gets roots is a freebie, isn't it? It's one thing I didn't have to buy. So it's annoying, but we live and we learn. So don't beat yourself up, guys, when shit happens. And also over here we've got the turbo claw machine, which I said usually doesn't seem to do very well with dahlias, but I've had actually really good strike rates. They all had dahlias all in here, and I've just replanted them all yesterday. And what I've got left in here, I thought would be good to show you, because the benefit of one of these systems, if you can get it working with dahlias, like they work really well for other plants. It's just there's a lot of, I haven't got the time to tweak it enough to get consistent results for the dahlias, I don't think. But I'm starting to get some root formation on that one. And I'm going to try and take some photos, because I thought that would show you, because they're not growing in soil as such, we'll be able to see the full process of how a cutting calluses, and then starts to get the little nodules. So like this one is just starting to root. What's this one doing on the end? Got a lot of new growth. Oh yeah, you can see. I'll take photos because this autofocus on the camera doesn't always seem to like to work when I'm doing videos. And you can see here when I was playing with the leaf, you see the leaves at the back, or the new growth's coming through really good, but it's really quite pale. I actually burnt them by having the light way too close over this corner, and as you can see the difference, they're a lot happier since I've put the light at the right height and controlled it to, so that they're basically receiving, it's called daylight integral, but basically what I'm doing is mirroring with my lights what they would get over a 10-hour period outside on a given day. So we try and replicate what nature's doing. We seem to get better results. There's another one. So these ones just haven't rooted yet. Yeah. So they're all trying, they're all thinking about it. Alright. So when I was making up the bunches for the market the other day, as you can see here, I've been collecting some seed. So some of them aren't fully mature yet, but what you can do is just put them in a jar of water and keep the jar topped up and refreshed every couple of days. And as you can see, they still mature. So when I was making up the bunches for the market the other day, as you can see here, I've been collecting some seed. So some of them aren't fully mature yet, but what you can do is just put them in a jar of water and keep the jar topped up and refreshed every couple of days. And as you can see, they still mature. So there's probably varying stages you can take them from, but when I take them, as you can see, they feel quite firm. There's a bit of moisture in there if you push them. But hopefully being out of the elements, they'll continue to ripen in there. They're not going to rot. And I've got tags, as you can see, just running randomly. Not so much with this one because I know which variety this is, which is Mystic Sparkler. But as these all dry out, we should have some seed. Alright guys, thanks for watching. I am going to get back into my propagation. I've got plenty of seedlings I need to take out of their little cells and put into some new pots. And it's pretty murky today and freezing cold, so I'm going to keep busy trying to keep warm and try and level some of that sand out for the greenhouse as well. But take care, and I'll see you on the next video. Ciao. Thanks for watching our video, guys. Don't forget to hit the like, subscribe and the alert button if you want to stay tuned for what's coming up next. Have a great day.